Bonjour à tous et bienvenue dans ce nouvel épisode de Mozabytes. Aujourd'hui, nous avons la chance de recevoir Massimiliano Marcon, un des directeurs produits de MongoDB. MongoDB, c'est un des leaders dans les bases de données nouvelle génération. Exceptionnellement, ce nouvel épisode se fera en anglais. Je vous souhaite une bonne écoute à tous.
We are pleased to receive Max Marcon from MongoDB. Thank you very much, Max, for being here.
Thank you, David. We're really excited to chat with you today.
Great. So maybe if you can start by introducing yourself and in a few words, what is MongoDB and what you are doing at MongoDB?
Yeah, of course. So I'm Max Marcon. I'm a Director of Product Management at MongoDB. MongoDB is a modern database for modern applications. If you think about traditional databases, data is stored in tables, rigid schemas, defined upfront. That doesn't scale well with modern applications, with AI applications. MongoDB, since the very beginning, took a very different approach. The approach is the document model. So data is stored in documents, something that looks like JSON. Developers are used to sending JSON around APIs, services. So it's really natural for them to store data in this format. And so MongoDB has always taken this approach, and that's why we've been so successful so far. The other part, and this is where it comes to my role at MongoDB, is that MongoDB has always differentiated itself from other databases in terms of developer experience. So when I used MongoDB, I remember for the first time back in 2011, I was mind blown by how easy it was to connect to a database, store my first document, read it from there, and I was like, okay, this is how I want to use databases going forward. And this is exactly what I do today at MongoDB. So I'm responsible for the libraries, the frameworks, the tools that developers use to integrate MongoDB into their applications, and the user experience that we offer to them to work with their data as efficiently and seamlessly as possible. So my goal essentially is to ensure that developer experience is great across the board for all our customers.
Great. I think we will get back to this because I have a lot of questions on this. But maybe just to give a bit more context about MongoDB. So this podcast is all about generative AI. I am interested in what is the product vision of MongoDB in terms of generative AI? How did it impact your roadmap, your vision when it appears like a few years ago?
Yeah, of course. So over the years, in working with our customers, we saw that it's very typical to have a number of different databases in their infrastructure. So there's MongoDB, of course, we talk to those customers, but then they use other services, other databases to store their data. With AI, we see a need for bringing all this data together in the same place so that it's easier for AI applications, for agents to consume it. It's also easy for the customer to put a layer of governance and security around their data. And as they do that, we feel that MongoDB is the right choice because, first of all, what I said earlier, the document model, but at the same time, a modern database for an AI application, I believe, is a database that includes all the building blocks that you need to build agents, to build AI services for your customers. And that includes a transactional database, so the place where you store and retrieve your data. But it also includes a database that allows you to do lexical and semantic search. And then when you do semantic search, you need embeddings and re-ranking. And right now, there are some companies who store their data in one place and they use a different database for vector search. Then they use an API for embeddings. At MongoDB, we bring it all together behind the same API, the same query language, and the same developer experience. So at the end of the day, you just work with one database, one service, and you get everything you need to build AI applications. And I think this is absolutely like as if I think about the past me, a developer, you get it all in one box without having to manage a complex infrastructure of different bits and pieces to bring it all together and deliver a service to our customers.
Okay. Well, very nice. And was it always your product vision, or did like the emergence of generative AI had an impact on your roadmap or on your own role in terms of product manager, like in a director of product management or at MongoDB? Like, do you have to like adapt a bit your roadmap to the evolution of the new models, and how do you apprehend all of this? How do you manage to like adapt your product roadmap to all the evolution of like new models, new innovations that are coming in every month, every year? It's not easy like to keep up. So as a product manager, how are you doing it?
Yeah, for sure. So, first of all, let me answer the first part of your question. So, like, was this always the product vision for MongoDB? I think the vision of MongoDB as the general purpose database that offers a unified developer experience for any modern application has always been there. So, we always had the unified query language to do your simple CRUD operations, but also the more complex aggregations. And then as the market evolved a few years back, I think back in 2018, 2019, we added lexical search capabilities into the platform. And again, we expose it through the same query language. It like Atlas Search is part of our aggregation language. It's just a one different operator that you have to use as you build your applications. And then as the market evolved in the direction of AI, we just added the vector search capabilities on top. But again, it's the same API, the same query language. So the vision of one unified general purpose database still stands, but we are enhancing it with extra building blocks that you need for AI applications. So this is the general idea. Then the second part of your question, like how do you keep up with your roadmap as the market evolves so quickly? Obviously, you could read the news. We could look at what developers are doing, how their way of working is changing. But then, if we just did that, we would basically be changing our roadmap every other day, and we would not deliver anything that is super meaningful and long lasting. So we always start with the customer. Like we look at what our customers are doing. We talk to them. They show us what tools they're using, what they're struggling with, and we go from there. So obviously, we also have some like company objectives, some business goals that we have to achieve, and that we are trying to keep aligned with where the market is going, where the customers are going. But it's not like we have to change every day because competitor A did this or this product was launched in the market, the startup was funded, so we think that's the direction we are going. We start with the customer problem and AI and how AI is integrated into our products is the solution, probably. But we look at how that aligns with everything else that we are doing.
Okay, I understand. You keep the focus. Maybe one question about like about data. We often hear like garbage in, garbage out, and I think that of course that's true. But with generative AI, it becomes a lot easier to like just clean the data and interact with the data. You are saying that your role was to help technical and developers interact with data, but now a lot of like also non-technical people can interact with data thanks to generative AI. So what are you building on this with MongoDB? Like, are you helping your customers to clean data? And do you have also on your roadmap the vision of helping non-technical people interact with data more easily?
Mhm. So let me take the second part of the question first, because it's a bit easier. So we are seeing a trend of less technical people, not just interacting with data, but building applications. We have like vibe coding platforms
Yeah.
where non-developers, product managers are going there, they're building prototypes, they're shipping products with Versal, with Lovable, that kind of platforms. And the same type of audience is going to start interacting with our products as well. So we are exposing capabilities that are simplified by AI. So customers can build queries with natural language in our user interfaces. We launched a few months back the MongoDB MCP server, so we can integrate MongoDB into AI platforms. We see a lot of people building with Cloud Code, for example, and they're using our MCP to give Cloud context on their database, which is really great to see. And we are also exposing interfaces, AI interfaces for customers to ask questions about MongoDB and learn about the different elements of the platform, the query language, the best choices for their schema. So yes, the audience is changing a bit. More people are going to be developers, and our interfaces and our strategy is somehow evolving in that direction. Now, to the other part of your question, like, are we building or thinking about any products that help customers clean data? So right now, we're not going vertical and do a data cleansing AI product that people can just interact with and clean their data. But we do have in our platform the building blocks to do exactly that. So the Atlas is the place where, or like MongoDB is the place where the data is stored, and that we see as the place where your data is in a good shape for AI applications to consume. But as the data gets in there, there are different ways to clean it up. So a lot of customers are using stream processing platforms like Kafka. They ingest a lot of data through there. We offer a stream processing solution as part of our Atlas platform, for example, where in real time, you can ingest this data, transform it with our query language, so clean it up. You can even use an LLM if you want in between to transform that data, because we can do HTTP calls from the stream processor and then store it back into MongoDB in the shape that you need. And the fact that you can store it in whatever structure makes the most sense for you and for your applications, I think is a great of great help for your data to be in the shape that the AI agent or AI application that you're building needs.
And so, yes, it's interesting, but do you think there is the same need of like have a good database and cleaning data when you have already an AI that can understand like not as well as the structured data than before? Like right now, if I take the example, you have a lot of product like Envitain, in French we have Dust, all this kind of products that are able to understand all your infrastructures and find the right data and interact with it. So it poses a question because we used to spend a lot of time on cleaning data and have a good database. Is it still useful to like spend as much time as before on this, or with all going on with AI, we can expect that we will have in a few months like an AI that will be powerful enough to like do it for us?
I think it really depends on the use case. If the use case is the like business analytics type of use case, then I think AI can be of great help. You can go into a tool and say, "Hey, I'm trying to understand what my most active users did in the past 3 months." I think as assuming you're storing like the right type of data and you have the right linkage between that data so the AI can put it all together, then you can get an answer. And I think that allows non-technical audiences, allows product managers to self-serve in answering this type of questions. But then when it comes to exposing data for applications, then it's a different type of scenario. Applications, even if you're building an AI application and you can use potentially within your agent an LLM to uh, extract data from natural language, it's going to be slow. And you're probably not going to deliver the performance that your customers expect. Like if someone types in chat, "Hey, I need you to fix my account because I think that this charge should not be there." If if you have to go through different loops of, okay, first of all, I need to understand the customer good. Now I have to go understand the data. And I have to figure out how I put it together. And then I have to go fix it potentially. This is a lot of back and
Mm.
forths with an LLM, and I don't think it's going to have the type of performance and response time that the customer will expect. So I do think there is a need for some type of structure in your data. Um, it doesn't have to be like 100% consistent. Not all the documents need to look the same, but there needs to be a minimum that the AI application can query. So then you can also, and here I'm going to go a bit more technical, but you can create the right indexes, you can create the right embeddings for part of the data. So it's much easier to search.
Okay, yeah, definitely. Maybe one last question about MongoDB. When it comes to like Amazon Cloud Service, Google GCP, Azure, how are you? Are they like competitors for you, or are they like more partners?
So we have very tight relationships and partnerships with these hyperscalers. Their marketplaces are a strategic channel for us to distribute MongoDB and to engage with customers, partners, developers. It's very strategic for us to be on the AWS marketplace, because then when someone is already using AWS for the rest of our infrastructure, then MongoDB is just one click away. And we continue looking at how we can make Atlas available across as many clouds as possible. Currently, we have, I think, over 120 regions across the 3 cloud providers, which is something that I don't know everybody and anybody else has. And we keep winning awards that these partners of ours, that the hyperscalers give away, and we keep building strong product integrations with them. It's just recently we integrated inside Azure's platform for AI applications, so it's much easier for someone who builds an AI tool on top of Azure to integrate with MongoDB. So all in all, from perspective, yes, they are competitors, but they are really strong partners, and we've been very successful in our partnerships with these hyperscalers.
Okay, great. Maybe one question about the market evolution. We see a relatively, at least in France, well, let's choose to the US market, but in France, we see not a lot of successful and high scale AI generative products. Like a lot of companies are trying to do like proof of concept and did a lot of things, but didn't manage to like create a strong. I don't talk about like AI native company. I speak about like classic service companies or tech companies. We don't see often like a really successful AI product launched by this kind of companies. And at one time, the problems were like speed, cost, but now all the big models has resolved these issues, and every models are fast, cost effective. So it's not really the problem right now. The main problem is still like reliability and how and the relevance of all of these products. In your opinion, why is it so difficult to launch a successful high-scale AI product when you are not a native AI company?
Mhm. I think it's a mix of different things. So one aspect might be that there is still a big gap between expectations and performance. I think a lot of people expect AI is just going to be magical. You put it there and it's going to solve a lot of problems. But to give you an example, earlier this week, I experienced that gap with a customer service AI agent that I was interacting with because I was having a problem. And after a bit of back and forth, the AI agent said, "I'm sorry, I cannot help you. I need to connect you with a human." And it said, "Tell me, I want to talk to a human." And they said, "Okay, I want to talk to a human." it closed the conversation. And I was like, but I did what you told me to do.
Yeah.
and and it just closed the conversation. So I think that is one aspect. Like people expect it to be magical, and it's not there yet, or they don't build it in a way that it feels magical for the customer. Then I think there's the data quality aspect that you hinted at earlier, like with garbage in, garbage out. Not all businesses have mature enough data infrastructure and governance to build AI applications on top of it. Um, and then related to data, I think there's also the possibility of bias and hallucination. If you go to ChatGPT, you go to Gemini, they do have the small fine print. Please check everything that we are telling you because it might not be true. This is fine if I'm asking ChatGPT, like, I don't know, how's the weather in Barcelona in December because I'm planning a trip. But it's probably less fine if you need it for a mission critical application. So I think there is still a bit of caution there. Then there's the security aspect. That's a very interesting one. When you start introducing AI and agentic experiences into the mix, then there's a big question: who is the agent accessing the data on behalf of? Is it the user? And is that enough privileges? And if yes, how do we um, essentially forward the user's identity to the agent so it can access the right data? If the user's identity is not enough, then the agent needs broader privileges. But then, if when it does, how do we make sure that it doesn't share the wrong data with the person who's not supposed to have access to it? I think we've seen a couple of security incidents. I think in the context of MCP in the past couple of months, where exactly this happened. Like one agent accessed some users' data and shared it with some other users. That's something that, especially in some contexts, you absolutely want to avoid. Um, and then lastly, I think there is also a policy and regulatory aspect that we are still early on. I expect that the more AI gets integrated into business processes, then the more scrutiny there's going to be from the regulators, from the policymakers. And so organizations might be a bit cautious and conservative with their applications because we don't have the situations quite figured out yet.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, the first point was really good, like the expectation, because there is a really low tolerance about error on data, on AI. Like when you have an AI product that works 95% of the time, it's already a great achievement, but the user only focus on the 5% that doesn't work. So I totally agree with you. What tips can you give? I can give you an example. Like we did a product, like it was like a personal assistant to find the right gift for a big French company.
Mhm.
And we had like 85, 90% of the use case were great, but we have like 10% of edge case that we didn't manage to solve because like the data was there, but AI was hallucinating. How do you have like some tips for all the product people that are listening to like because I feel that's always the case when you launch a first AI product, you always manage to, the first version is always around like 70, 80% of reliability. But then the 20% are really hard to get. What tips can you give to manage to improve the reliability of your product?
That's a good question, and in fact, I'm seeing a bit of a change in how we are defining the product expectations and goals when we are thinking about a new feature. So, one thing that we used to do in the past is that we'd write a product description and we'd say. Um, okay, this is the problem we're trying to solve, and this is how we think we should solve it, and we expect the solution to kind of look like this
Yeah.
button in the UI and this other thing, and we expect the customer will go through this experience. Um, when we started adding AI into the mix, we started seeing the need of being a bit more detailed in defining these expectations. And essentially, what we do is we say, okay, and when a customer asks this question, we expect the answer to look like this, roughly. And so it started with a couple of examples in the early product descriptions, and now it has evolved towards each product description that defines a feature or a product that has to do with AI includes a high-level set of evals. And that is the base for our engineering teams to design the test suite. So we go to experts across the company, we go to technical services, we say, hey, we're building a feature to solve this problem. I know that you see it a lot with customers. So this is the type of questions we expect would be able to answer. What is the answer that you'd give? And we write it down, and then we use that as a way to check the accuracy of the AI product that we are shipping. And if we are not proud of the accuracy we reach, then we go back to the drawing board, we change the prompts, we try different models until we get what we want.
Yeah, definitely. I think to have like some evals and see what works well on the same on the same evals and then look at the improvement of your model. It's the best way to do it. If I'm going back into the data part. Basically, when you have a product that works like 80% of the time, you have two ways to look at it. You can either like work on your prompt system and the model and the agents that you put above, or you can look at your data and try to improve your data. And often, like you don't know where to go between spending some more time to improve your prompting system or your agentic system to manage to have better answer on the same data, or spend some time to just like improve your data and keep the same infrastructure in terms of AI. How can you do this? Like this call between what you have to focus on. Is it on is the problem on data or more on the prompting system?
That's a good question, and I don't know if there is like an absolute answer. Oh, that yeah, definitely go look at your data, or definitely go fix your prompts. I think it's a very like it depends answer. If I guess that if you're fortunate enough to have maybe a data science team, then you can put them on the data and say, hey guys, like, can you go figure out if it's a data problem? And that's their expertise, and they can do that. Maybe for a smaller company, a small startup, it's more of a trial and error attempt. Like you go and you try to tweak the prompts, you see if you get what you want. If not, then you go through the more expensive exercise of going through your data and figure out if there is something missing, there are gaps, inconsistencies, and so on.
When we talk about a lot about like reliability, relevance, security. It's every subject. All of these subjects are really related to data, so related to your activity. What are the main innovations that you put it in place in the last, like I don't know, few months, few years, to improve the security, the reliability, the relevance of the whole data set of companies?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So I think one aspect is that the security and performance aspect of AI applications is not necessarily solved. A lot of people are struggling with that. Um, and what we try to do is to partner very closely with our customers because they are trying to figure things out. We are trying to figure out what are the best practices that we can recommend and build into our products. So we basically almost like consult them and say, hey, okay, what does your infrastructure look like? Okay, you want to use MCP. How do you deploy it? Oh, you have a gateway. Okay, what does it look like? How do you implement authentication there? Okay, what do you need from us? Oh, you need MCP to be available through not just standard IO, but also HTTP. Okay, we can make that happen. And so it's a bit of a back and forth with customer, and trying to understand what they're trying to do so we can offer it to them. In general, when it comes to security, we apply the same high security standards we set for everything else. And maybe sometimes that means that we are a bit more cautious with launching a new feature, and instead of just going out and launching it. But I'd rather not be in the news because of a data problem or a security problem, and make sure that our customers are taken care of in the right way. And then I think when it comes to AI features that we build for our customers, what's also important for us is to be extra transparent in how their data is being used and processed by us for the type of capabilities that we make available to them. And then the very last thing is we know that not all customers have the same level of readiness. Some are ready to embrace AI, some are not. Some already have their own AI policies and tools that are allowed and supported internally. So we make sure that it's possible to turn it off. Like if an enterprise customer has policies that prevents them from sharing some data with us to take advantage of an AI tool, an AI product, an AI feature, then we just let them turn it off across the entire fleet.
Maybe one question about your persona. I don't know exactly what is your main. So I understand that your persona for now is mainly developers, but in terms of company size or type of companies, I don't know what are the main persona. We are working a lot with big corps who are sometimes really advanced in AI, sometimes not. But for them, the bigger issue is, of course, data security. And we saw a lot of people like trying to create like internal GPTs, internal close gap, and so they are really afraid of creating like a customer facing product based on AI. What can you say? Because and it's true, like you said, there was some issue with security before. Maybe what can you say to like reassure the big corps and like also developers that have a lot of issue with security, like and that are a bit like cautious before launching customer-facing AI product. Like maybe to rephrase the question, we heard before like a lot of companies say that, okay, you have to form your employees because I cannot share everything with ChatGPT. So no, they created like a lot of fears that are not really true right now. So maybe can you like reestablish the truth about how secure is AI and where are going the data when you are using like AI products?
Mhm. I think like MongoDB is not quite a big corp yet. We are at 6,000 people, but we are facing the same type of questions internally, right? So we do have access to AI tools. We have like our own version of GPT as part of the Google suite that we use. We are allowed to use Gemini, and so we have more relaxed policies for those tools because they've been reviewed and approved by our teams. But then at the same time, obviously, we have to learn the tools that our customers are using. So because we build the MCP server, we are building other AI features. Our teams need to spend time with Claude, with Cursor, with Windsurf, and like these tools are like a sprawl of like models and APIs that data gets sent to. So for those, we have a more restrictive policy. We use them to test our products, but none of our customer data goes to that to those tools. So we train our employees essentially in what you can do and not do based on the type of tool that you're using. So I think other companies are probably doing the same. I would be surprised if we are doing something different from what the standard is.
Okay, great. Maybe one question about the evolution of the market on the market. We saw when we talked about GPT, Gemini, so OpenAI, Google, Amazon. They are launching a lot of applicative products. So their goal initially was like just to power every startups with their models, and startups. The goal of startups was to create like an applicative on top of these models. But right now, we saw a lot of new applications that are created by those model providers. And so that's really a concern about, we talk a lot with startups, and that's really a concern because they say, okay, we are spending like months to build a product, but it's really possible that in like a few months, in like 10 days, OpenAI just launched exactly the same product, and so we are basically just dead. So in your opinion, what can make a difference? How you can create some defensibility when you are startups facing like this big enterprise? And yes, what are the best way to create this defensibility?
Mhm. Yeah, that's a very good question. So one aspect is obviously the data. Like the data you have is the data that only you have, and the other companies don't. I think in the early 2000, someone coined the term or the phrase "data is the new oil." That has not been more true than it is today. Um, but I think, and I think that's really important because essentially, if I'm using a service that is backed by an AI feature that has learned everything about me, it has my data, it can help me, support me based on what it learned from me, then the cost of switching to something else for me is going to be very high. So that's one way of keeping your customers hooked to your application. But then I think on top of that, the other aspect that really matters is the user experience. So a simple API wrapper is very easy to copy, especially like now with vibe coding. I can just pick an API and
Yeah.
like a GPT wrapper and copy it in a couple of hours. But beautiful design products with an intuitive user interface that truly solves a painful problem for the customer, that's really hard to copy because you've spent the time, you've done the research, you talked to a lot of customers, you focused on your niche, and you've solved that problem. So doing this hard work is uh, is hard. It's a much bigger investment than just copying a simple wrapper around an AI model. And so I feel that's the other more defensible aspect when you build a company that uses one of those models. Like think about Cursor. Like Cursor is just an IDE. It's basically VS Code forked, built on top of a number of different models, and they figured out exactly when to talk to one model, when to talk to another one, and they built the beautifully integrated developer experience that keeps users focused on what they're doing and make it easy for them to generate applications. Um, that whole thing is much harder to copy than maybe a simple web page that goes to ChatGPT when you ask it, build me a to-do list. And so it's going to be harder for someone to rebuild Cursor. It's possible, but it's not as easy.
We saw some, yes, a lot of competitors arriving and reaching a high amount of IRR in a few months and then declining. So, yeah, but I agree with you definitely. Maybe sorry, I had a question in mind that I just goes away. Yes, maybe one question about the future of product and AI. We talked a lot about like products that are meant to be used by agents and no more by humans. So for you, are we there yet? That's maybe my first question. And the second one is, what are the implications for like products that are just meant to be used by agent and no more by product? It's just about data mostly. So are you already like trying to think about this future of product and think about the product that won't be like a classical product with a UI, but just like an API that is used by other type of agents? I already have this in mind and trying to build some things internally for this kind of product. And do you think we are there, or it's not? We are not there yet, and it will come in the coming years.
Yeah, this is a really top of mind for me right now, and we see that a lot in our space. And I don't know if the space of like developer tooling is kind of leading because people are experiment like companies are experimenting more with the products, but we definitely see a trend in the direction of the user is no longer just a human, it's also an agent. So maybe we're not 100% there yet, but we will be there soon, I believe. Um, if I look at who's using our MCP server, in the past weeks, we've seen tremendous growth of Cloud Code.
Okay.
And so, Cloud Code is just this experience that lives in the terminal. You tell it what to do, and then it just goes away, spins up agents, and writes the code for you, and only comes back every now and then if it has some questions. So the user, like the human there, is just sitting and waiting for a question or feedback request from the agent. I think what this means, that's definitely what it means for us, but probably for everybody else who's building products where the agentic experience is going to be the standard, is that while until now we focused on building compelling UI experiences, and we really go the extra mile to build beautiful UIs, talk to the customers, understand what the right flow, the right progressive disclosure setup is. Now we have this additional persona that we have to keep into consideration. It's not a human, it's an agent. And we need to give them the context and the visibility over the data, the models, so they can make the right choices. For us, it's giving visibility over the database so they can make the right implementation choices. But then I think we are still very far from, at least like in my world, where the agent is writing code that eventually gets shipped. We are very far from nobody ever looks at that code. I mean, yes, you can do that with vibe coding. You can just not look at the code, but
Right.
probably you'll get into trouble later on. So I think we still need a human in the loop, and that's the type of interfaces we need to build. So in the world of coding, maybe it's not like the IDE optimized for code completion and optimized for like pointing out code style problems and so on. Now it's more an interface similar to an IDE that is optimized to review the code changes that the AI agent has made. Maybe like there are like beautiful colors to visualize the diff between the before and after state. Maybe it's other compliance checks that you want to do on the code changes, but it's less optimized for what it was before, and it's more optimized for double checking what the agent is doing.
Yeah, interesting. But so for you, so if I'm just summarizing, you think that we will still have like some human in the loop in this product? Maybe we can take like some a concrete example. I don't know if I'm building like tomorrow a new sky scanner. So I have
Mhm.
I'm able to compare every flight. And if do I st- and maybe like we are in like 2 or 3 years, we will have a lot of booking travel agents. And I'm like Skyscanner. I have built a website that can be can like compare every flight. Do I really need like a UI and an interface? Because most of my person are going to be like agents that are just going to compare every flight. So do I still need like a UI, or is there going to be a lot of products that won't have any kind of UI in your opinion?
It's possible, and I think so. Yeah, that's a slightly different use case than what I was thinking of, because like in my world, it's more like, okay, someone needs to ship code, and there maybe hopefully we'll still have some like way of checking on what's happening. But I do see like the new Skyscanner potentially being just acting in the background, and its capabilities are exposed through some sort of, I think the user needs to have some sort of interface, whether it's a chat interface or something like that. Yeah, I think it could be like a Skyscanner MCP server or the corresponding of an MCP server 10 years from now. And you just have like your phone is just one big chat interface, and that's what you interact with. So but then I think even in that context, there will probably be some space for some UI elements that are optimized for displaying the content that is returned by agents. We're already seeing a bit of that in
Yeah,
ChatGPT. If you ask ChatGPT for a
okay.
restaurant recommendation, sometimes it shows you a map with some pins. Sometimes they're wrong, but the restaurants are displayed in a little map. So maybe there's going to be like a standard way to provide the end user UI with the content blocks that are optimized to display certain type of content.
Yeah, definitely. It will be interesting to see. And maybe one last question, because you came from the product world, but you are also really close to the tech and developers world. In your opinion, what is the future of a tech team in a startups? Like, we will still have a user researcher, a product manager, UX designer, UI designer, back end engineer, front end engineer. I Of course, I think it will evolve. What is your view on that? What is the future of a tech team?
That's a good question. So I think the products that are made available to tech teams are evolving so that like you can go into Figma and like draw something. You can even use the chat interface to build a visual prototype and then I think transform that to code. So potentially you have a tool that does the job of 5 different people. It's probably not going to have the same quality as the 5 different people, but maybe gets you to the first MVP faster. Um, I think I don't believe people will go away. I think they will the role will just change a bit. If I think about the engineer, maybe engineers will write less code because that can be generated, but they'll still serve a function of like system architects because AI is great at generating code, not necessarily at system thinking. So when you start orchestrating multiple services, multiple APIs, databases, uh, you still need a human to put this all together and direct AI on like how to build the different pieces. So I do see a like an architect role in the future of software engineering, and then as I said earlier, we probably there's still going to be like a situations where you review where what the AI has generated. And for design and user research, I think the value of a product design team, of a research team, is to bring in that understanding and empathy for the customer. And sure, you can ask a customer to chat with your chatbot to explain their pain points and their requirements, but I don't know if that will bring in the same human aspect that we get by going and actually talking to the customer. So I think there is maybe still that angle that is going to remain important for product design. And then for product managers, I think customer understanding and general understanding the motivation behind what we do and defining our vision and strategy is going to still be important. Maybe our role could change a bit in the sense that we could put the developer hat on and start building early prototypes for our MVPs to test out concepts with users and customers, which we can then bring back to the team and say, okay, this kind of seems to work. Why don't we go and build this?
Yeah, definitely. Great. Thank you very much, Max, for all this very great insights about MongoDB, and think it's really useful for all the community. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for having me. It was a really pleasant conversation.